Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scott's Business. Today we are back for the fourth comprehensive review of blockchain social platforms. So for the bulk of this, I'm going to just be going through my top recommendations because I've reviewed over 100 platforms and most of them I would not recommend, unfortunately, because, well, we'll dive into the actual reasons behind why I might not have recommended certain platforms in a little bit. First, I want to refer to the actual resources that I looked at in the different directories and lists that I got all of these recommendations from, as well as go through some of the great services, applications, and resources for different blockchain decentralized applications before we dive into the social aspect, just because they're definitely worth mentioning as well. And I'm trying to be as comprehensive as possible. So I would like this to be an awesome resource for you to refer to and to share with other people if you think it will benefit them and give them value. So let's just dive right into it. Essentially, I've collected over 100 platforms. The main platforms that I've used to refer to find different platforms was app.co, dApps Radar, and State of dApps. Also, just doing tons and tons of exploring, many different search engines, collecting user recommendations for several months. I've definitely done my due diligence in trying to find as many platforms as I possibly could so that we could find and review the most and get the most comprehensive review so that you know what is available to you. And say you were only willing to use, one or two platforms, what would that look like, and why might you choose a certain platform over another platform? While some platforms are crypto monetized, they might not be as decentralized or profitable or, actually using the blockchain amongst many other different variables that you might be considering when you look for a good blockchain social application, especially a decentralized one. And yeah, so we're going to dive into all of that. But first, I'd like to just jump through some great resources that you could use that might be somewhat related to social media, but not always. So the first one is BitPatron, and it's essentially just like a crypto free speech alternative to Patreon. So definitely go and check that out if you're looking for something like that. But there's also other great options that we'll look at as well. Float is another great version of this, similar to, well, it acquired Bitbacker and then changed it into Float. So if you remember Bitbacker previously, it is now called Float. And this is very new, and I recommend checking it out. If you're looking for a good mixer, I use Bitcoin Mix. It's for ETH and BTC, though there are way better options out there today. Even better than Monero, I would say take a look at dApps Coin if you're just trying to look for a good privacy solution, which is the next one listed. BLVD, otherwise known as Boulevard. It is a way for you to learn about different traffic police, different hazards related to the roads and traffic, and you can earn cryptocurrency for sharing the information, and then just helping other people kind of know what's going on while they're planning a trip or whatever it might be. Nestry is a blockchain based messenger. I don't really consider messenger applications social media. I consider it just more general communication. So while I will list several, I'm not going to review them or include them in the actual review of the review side of things. BitDegree is a cool website that gamifies education on blockchain and blockchain technology. So that's something cool that you could check out as well. The interplanetary search engine is a really great system for storing and searching for files in a decentralized way. And a lot of blockchain platforms use this for storing their hashes and a lot of their files and just their general decentralized storage. Uniswap is a great place where you can trade and swap out your ERC20 tokens. Fork Delta is another great place where you can do the same thing. They also have, to my knowledge, the only unlisted trading for Mines tokens. And I say unlisted because you can't navigate your way to this on the website. You have to go through this URL. So this is a handy resource if you're trying to buy cheap Mines tokens or if you're trying to sell, though the trading volume is really low, so consider that. Bitbacker, we just talked about this actually, so I'm going to remove this because it was acquired. And I list these earlier, but I'm just describing them a little bit more in depth. I may end up changing some of this information as we go through, as I notice that it might be needing updated, because I will be re-reviewing it before I actually publish. But like I said, it is about 10,000 words, so it's extremely long and comprehensive, and I might have to do a triple check as well. So keep that in mind. Bit Radio, you can listen to the radio and earn crypto. Pre-search, you can earn crypto just for using their search engine, which is really awesome. Brave browser, highly recommend. We really dive into that later, but it's an amazing browser for earning cryptocurrency while you just browse the internet. ZeroNet is another really cool. It doesn't necessarily use blockchain so much as BitTorrent. It does technically use Bitcoin cryptography, but it's mainly focused on the BitTorrent network. But it's another really awesome browser that you can use. It even has offline pages, so you can still technically use the internet while it's offline, like if you lose connection, for example. So that's really cool. Hilo allows you to track and talk about different coins with a community and a forum. Storage is a really cool decentralized cloud storage application. I think it's still in beta, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's actually double check that right now, because this is a great application. I used it before, but then it went back into beta or something, and I couldn't use it anymore because it wasn't fully released yet. So I still think it's not fully released, but definitely keep an eye out for that, because that's going to be really interesting. You'll be able to earn their coin from giving up part of your storage for other people to use, as well as you can spend it to use other people's storage, similar to other cloud other cloud services and applications, but it's in a much more decentralized way. So for example, if I do something wrong on my Gmail, I lose access to my G Drive. And something wrong could just be like, say, you're sending too many emails and you trigger a spam filter, then you get punished and you lose access to your files. So that's really scary for a lot of people. And a lot of people aren't fully aware of that. So decentralized storage, especially cloud storage, is very useful. Loom Network is a great network for making blockchain applications for Ethereum. Definitely check that out if you're a developer. Crowdholding is a collection of share drops, earn drops, and different ways to earn crypto. Blocklancer is a freelance gig economy. It's somewhat similar to Fiverr if you're aware of what that is. It's just a freelance gig website where you can just post different gigs, and a gig is really just like a service or something you can offer. BountyOX is another great place where you can earn rewards for participating in small tasks and completing bounties, and similar to like airdrops or earn drops rather, where you might tweet something about the project and then earn some of their coin. The CMA marketplace is a less established version of BountyOX, but if you're really interested in that kind of stuff, it's definitely also worth checking out. Coins Calendar, they have tons of information on events in the crypto space. So if you're looking for different events, trying to find different things, that's a good place to go and look at. Experty is a Skype alternative. Definitely check that out. It's a good communication platform on blockchain. Blockstack is a very interesting network. There's a lot of different applications built on it. I'm not super keen on Blockstack, but they're coming out with a lot of applications that you don't see in a lot of other places. So like, for example, they have like their version of Excel and Microsoft Word and a lot of different applications that you might want to use, but you don't want to be giving that much privacy and control and and working with such centralized platforms. So if you want to use something that's more privacy focused and utilize the blockchain, a lot of the block stack applications are very productivity business focused. BlockUSign is a PDF signing solution using blockchain. It's also on Blockstack. Graphite, store documents and files. It's a cloud solution, again on Blockstack. XOR Drive is another blockchain related cloud storage. App.co we mentioned previously. Gladys is a alternative to Google Home, and you could set it up on a Raspberry Pi. It's also going to be significantly cheaper, and your data won't be being sent to massive tech companies and used against you or sold. XOR Browser is a blockchain web hosting application. XOR Browser. Music-related blockchain sites that you should check out. I probably am missing a lot of them, but the main ones that I know of and use are Tune, MusicCoin, and Dsound. This one is on Steam, so it works like all the other Steam applications, whereas these are their own platforms. There's several platforms that aren't ready yet, so I haven't actually done a review of them. I'm still waiting on a lot of them. A lot of them are way behind schedule to the point where I wouldn't be relying on them at all at this point. Then there's tons and tons and tons that I recommend, that I didn't recommend previously and I still don't recommend, sadly. For example, Hyperspace. I said a long time ago I didn't think it was going to be very effective, and I didn't recommend it, and naturally they have shut it down. So it's worth mentioning that in a lot of cases I've been historically correct in things that I've recommended versus things that I've said I don't recommend, and they're not going to work out. Waku, again, another awful example. These are some more, I'll touch on these quickly because these are a lot more high level examples, and they have bigger communities, but they're very misleading. So Waku and Whaleshares are both Steam alternatives, but they've had a lot of sketchy issues. Waku was giving away a ton of Waku for sign-up bonuses, and there was all these fake accounts just to get all the bonuses, massively devaluing it. Finally got listed on exchanges, and it's worth literally nothing. Whaleshares, the witnesses were basically scamming people with their own witness coins, and then running bots, and then they got rid of the bots because originally they said they created it to get away from bots from Steam, but then they did exactly that, but only the witnesses did it, and then they benefited with their own coin, and then they canceled it, and anyone who had their coin got screwed because no one was buying it. So in my opinion, it's way worse than Steam, even though they were attempting to solve problems on Steam. It's pretty ironic, but that's capitalism at its worst. And then a lot of these other ones are just other bad examples. DLive, I've done several videos on why DLive is not a platform you should be trusting. They left the Steam blockchain, they abandoned all those people. Lino points are very, very centralized, very sketchy. You can't withdraw unless you're withdrawing more than 4,000. You really don't have much control over your own currency and the things that you do. They banned Alex Jones and other people. They're very, very centralized, very against a lot of the motivations and values for blockchain platforms and why people go there to begin with. Sadly, they have a huge community because PewDiePie streams there and endorses it. So thus, a lot of people think it is an actual blockchain platform when it is really just riding off of the hype of blockchain, but completely disregarding all of the values and extremely centralized in all the other bad things. I've already gone through this time and time again. You can check that out for yourself. I'm also really not a fan of EOS applications because a lot of them, they have a lot of issues as well. Tribe is the only one that I use, but to each their own. 3Speak is okay, but it's pretty slow. It's very similar to BitChute. It's on Steam, and I mean, if you're really going to be using Steam, you might as well just be using DTube. I'm sure some people would disagree. Just to quickly cover a few more of the reasons as to why I might not have recommended certain platforms. I will state my bias. Again, EOS platforms usually will not recommend them because a lot of them are really poorly set up. The way that EOS is set up, very poorly done. For example, today, the CPU usage was so high that even with, talking to different admins, getting help, staking more, I was still unable to just do basic transactions on Tribe, which is extremely frustrating. And I'm sure the average person would not be able to get around these kinds of things, and they would just have so many problems and so much struggle with using Tribe that there's no way I could recommend it, because the point here is that these platforms have to be usable by the average person, not someone who is extremely crypto savvy, because this review is for the average, just the general social media user who's looking for another good platform to use that, might solve their issues around monetization, censorship, think platforms that are overly centralized, whatever it might be. People are coming to blockchain platforms to solve these issues. So they're obviously not looking to have the same issues or deal with a lot of struggle to get started, or, they're just way too technical and complex. Also, I usually wasn't super keen on recommending platforms that require too much verification to be able to use the platform. Like you must verify your phone and all these different things to be able to just use the platform, let alone earn cryptocurrency. But I understand that some platforms want that kind of thing, but some platforms can't even correctly verify. Like Hyperspace previously, before, when it was working, did not work with Canadian phone numbers. So it wasn't going to work out extremely well, since they couldn't even get the basics set up. Also, like BitTube, for example, couldn't verify my number either. So there's a lot of problems with Canadian numbers for some odd reason. And that's why I usually don't look super favorably on platforms that require a phone number to actually use the platform. Also, if it requires that you sign in with Facebook or Google, obviously that kind of defeats the purpose of looking for a decentralized application if you require a centralized login to be able to use them. A lot of people are getting banned off of those platforms, so requiring that they use them is kind of flying in the face of the reason why they might join these platforms to begin with. Platforms that require you spend crypto for every single transaction is extremely unrealistic, and to ask someone to leave platforms where they can do everything for free to start paying for everything they do is extremely unrealistic, and it's not going to happen. Websites that claim to use blockchain but do not at all, or websites that are very centralized, again, these both apply to DLive. It is a sham. And then again, most EOS platforms, as I said before. Also, platforms that require a lot of extra programs and extensions, I'm not super keen on using. So again, BitTube used to require, or it might still require, that you have an extension to be able to really use the platform as a creator, maybe not as a user, but as a creator. And I think that's just unrealistic, especially when people are mostly going to be using it on their phone. They're obviously not downloading desktop browser extensions. So that's another thing to consider. Now, if we actually jump down all the way to the beginning of the platforms that I actually do recommend, these are new platforms here that I still don't recommend, but they were not previously included. There's quite a few, because I've been doing my best to look for different platforms and to find different things. Something that I was pretty disappointed with was Doc.io, Springroll, Indoors. They all changed very, very significantly, and they're really not the platforms that they used to be. They were kind of all working in conjunction to provide a good alternative to LinkedIn. Most of them are not working or have changed completely, and I just don't recommend them at all. Foresting is kind of a flop for me. I'm not going to waste your time going through all these different platforms that weren't very good. Let's start taking a look at platforms that had some merit and actually looking through them and going through them. Now, I don't recommend Sapien, but I think it is good enough to take a brief look at. The only reason I don't recommend it is because for posting on here, it is very awkward. It's very clunky. The thumbnails get messed up. You try to post something and it ends up completely different from what you previewed and what you were originally trying to post. So, if they can clean this up more, I'm sure it'll probably end up in my like tertiary recommendations, but for now it's not quite there. And I wish them all the best. I have tons of Sapien coin, because when I try these platforms, I will buy their coin, I will stake, I will try and properly test the platform. But if it's not going anywhere, then it's not very ideal. And as you can see, barely any interaction on any of these posts, no comments, almost no likes. Even if you look at like top things, a lot of them are extremely old and only by a few different people. So it's not super reliable. You'll see like this guy works at Sapien or with Sapien, and he's the mostly what you're seeing for top posts, and a lot of them are very old as well. So do consider that if someone's trying to convince you that there is a lot of people using this, because there really isn't. The next platform we're looking at is BitTube, and again, I think BitTube is a good platform, but they're trying too hard with requiring that you use their extension, amongst all the other things that they've got going on. It's just a little clunky. It's a little awkward. It's still mostly made up of like random plagiarized movies and spam. Not a lot of substance here, but it does seem to be getting better. Luckily, they have given the option where you can upload your full YouTube. So I was able to upload my entire, YouTube library, or sorry, no, that was for library. This was just, you could start enabling uploads so that it would automatically upload, just connect to your API. So it's the same as BitChute in that sense. Every time I make a post on YouTube, it will then be uploaded and it will grab all the details and upload it here as well. I've been using this for a really long time, but it basically reset when they switched to the new platform a few months back. So it doesn't look like I have a ton here, but this was 8 months ago. So I definitely have used this for quite some time, and it really hasn't improved a ton. I mean, with this new website, it is much better, but in terms of the community and how easy it is to sign up and use it, again, I couldn't sign up because it wasn't verifying my phone number, so I had to go through the support. And I think most people aren't willing to bother, especially when this is a tertiary recommendation. This is the bottom of the list, so keep that in mind. And otherwise, if you're not able to verify with your phone, you have to spend about $25 in stake to verify. So again, I don't think many people are going to be enticed to do that, but to each their own. I'm not necessarily knocking this, but I'm saying it does have potential to be better. And so, there's a chance there. So, keep that in mind. Now we're looking at Tribe. This is the only one that, I hesitantly recommend, because it's an EOS platform and there's a lot of problems with EOS platforms, as I've said. I mean, even just going on the website, linking to my my articles, and I'm not logged in, it just shows this awkward blank screen. However, when we log in, again, it works all right, but because it relies on EOS, as I said earlier, there was issues today where I couldn't do anything with my tokens. I couldn't withdraw. I couldn't power up. I was just unable to do anything. And if people have to download Scatter, which is an extra program, and then connect it, and then it still doesn't work and have all these different issues, it's just unrealistic that people are going to like using this, or that the average person is even going to be able to sign up and get through all of that. I've previously also pointed out that there isn't a huge community. There's not a lot going on here. I do appreciate the people who are upvoting my posts and what little engagement I do get. But again, it's not super reliable. And for example, like 2 weeks ago, for a good month, I was unable to post anything because when I would go to create an article, all of these symbols and everything would be extremely like it looked kind of like this when I was just, at the regular 100% view. And there was no way to fix it, and they finally fixed it like after a month. But when a platform's not working for a full month at a time, it's kind of hard to rely on that, especially if people are going to do this with relying on this for an income. So again, as long as they keep pushing to improve it, maybe EOS wallets get better, things get fixed there's possibility. But again, I don't highly recommend this, but this is in the tertiary recommendations, which means there's a chance that it could get a lot better and potentially move up. So mix acuity, we're not going to go through this because it's very complicated and it's very, very early stages, but I think it's very, very interesting and worth taking a look at, especially for developers to start developing on. It is a truly open, decentralized platform where anyone can create interfaces, applications very, very easily. And it's cool because you can also create your own token. And I think people will have a lot of fun testing this out. But again, it's very, very bare bones basics right now. So keep that in mind if you decide to try this out. You can only use it on a computer because you have to actually download it to use it. But again, I do recommend it, but it has a long way to go. So now we're looking at library. Previously, I had a lot of trouble with library, but luckily now they have a website where you can go and you can view all of the videos that are on here. And that's really ideal because previously you had to rely on using the application that you would download. Whereas now you're able to go and just use the website like BitChute and like BitTube. You're able to set it up so that it automatically uploads all of your YouTube videos onto library, so you don't have to do anything extra. It'll also import all of your previous videos, so your entire library of videos will be uploaded as well. And as you can actually see here, my video that I recently posted is trending at number 3 based on people donating and tipping this, and then it gets staked into the video itself, and then that's how it trends. So, I'm very thankful for all the people who have supported this and shared this and donated, because that's awesome that even during this review, you could see that this video is trending. So I appreciate that. And I do highly, highly recommend library. I also have an awesome video where I interviewed the CEO and founder, Jeremy Kaufman. We go through a lot of different things happening with the platform, where they're trying to take it. They're trying to make it a lot easier for the average person to come on here and actually use this. And I think it's a really, really great project. So this is the first of my secondary recommendations. The reason it doesn't get all the way to primary yet is because it is a little challenging to use, especially if you're using the application. And to get started, it was a little challenging, and the community isn't quite here yet, but I think in the next year or so, this could very well make it to the primary recommendations. I think a lot of people are starting to use this and see the value in it, and a lot of creators are starting to take advantage of this. So I definitely recommend checking out Library, or LBRY, Libri. They use LBC cryptocurrency, and I've earned more than like $60 already, so in like a month or so. So I highly recommend it. It's definitely profitable. It's really great, monetized. I think a lot of people are looking for YouTube alternatives, not just social media platforms in general, but a lot of people are specifically looking for video hosting applications, and this is a great solution for that. Moving on to BitChute. BitChute is the only exception that I really made for a platform that wasn't really truly a blockchain platform, but it uses blockchain technology to a sense, like in a sense, but it's not necessarily using a blockchain or rewarding you with cryptocurrency. But it is definitely an amazing, amazing alternative to YouTube, and I highly, highly recommend checking this out. It's a great platform, and it's similar to Library. You're able to just set up an API where it'll just take all of your new uploads and directly upload them here. It takes a few hours, but usually it'll show up the next day if it doesn't show up in a few hours. As you can see, they've uploaded in the correct order, and there hasn't really been many issues. Occasionally it might not upload, so you can see 193 did not upload, but you can still upload manually if you prefer to do that, or whatever you decide to do. The next one we're going to take a look at is Uptrend. Uptrend has come a very, very long way from when I first started using it. And oh, that's interesting. I don't know what this plus, I guess they've changed it. Previously it was just up or down, kind of like Reddit, so it's slightly different now, but more or less the same general UI. One thing that's interesting about this platform is where you have a platform like Steam, your stake allows you to give out more votes. Whereas in this platform, when you stake your points, you earn more as well as give out more. The only problem is that you cannot unstake your points. So I'm level 15, so I earn, significantly more than someone who's level 1. But if I decide to stop using the platform, I can't get all that back. So you can only, keep what you keep, and if you decide to stake it, you're basically betting that this is going somewhere and that you're going to keep earning. Otherwise, you're kind of losing out on that on the stuff that you've staked in, because it's not really staked, it's more so trading, or it's a permanent stake really. But I still highly recommend it. There's a lot you can do here. As you can see, my popular posts have done really well, thousands of views. I don't get a ton of comments here, but there's definitely a lot of traction. The only gripe, one of the main gripes that I have, is that it's really only about cryptocurrency and blockchain right now. You can't really post about anything else. Otherwise they'll kind of give you a warning and say, like, we're not expanding our categories yet. So if you try to create a community about fitness, they will say no. But eventually they're going to open it up and make it as decentralized as possible. They just want to wait for the community to get bigger before they start letting everyone just, go crazy, making everything and anything. And when that happens, when it's like truly decentralized, I think it'll be a lot better. A few months back, they finally got their token listed on exchanges. So now you can trade that and you can, sell it, make some money. Not super profitable yet, but definitely worth checking out. The last one in secondary recommendations, unfortunately, is Minds. I think Minds has done really well. It's been an amazing platform, but unfortunately, their boosts have been getting more restrictive. You haven't really been able to earn any money. Like, it's not very profitable at all. And it's just not worth recommending as a top primary platform, because for me, a primary recommendation would be somewhere that you could earn, a decent amount of crypto, and it's very decentralized. And while they're doing a really great job with decentralization amongst many other things, it doesn't really take advantage of the blockchain either. The only aspect of the blockchain, for the most part, is the boosting on chain. And most people don't even use it. You can only boost once every 24 hours. And you don't even necessarily need to do that on chain. So there's not a ton of reason for it to be even using the blockchain. But they're saying they're going to use blockchain more and more. And their team is doing a lot in the background working on a lot of updates. They're always upgrading and adding new things. You can check out their roadmap. They're completely open sourced and decentralized and open about everything they do. Highly, highly recommend this. It won't go back into my primary top recommendations until you're actually able to earn up, like an actual profitable monetization, because I have over 8 million views and I've only earned, maybe a few dollars, like on here, because you can't really sell it unless you're selling it to other people directly. And it's technically a utility token, so I understand why that is. But from the perspective of someone looking for a platform where they can monetize and earn cryptocurrency, and something that's using the blockchain and that's like truly decentralized and the content is on the blockchain, this isn't quite there. But it is really, really great as a decentralized social platform for boosting, getting stuff out there, promoting other platforms that you use. It's really great for all of those things, but it's not quite in the top yet. Now, when we're actually looking at top recommendations, the first thing I want to dive into is Brave. So I've actually done this whole review on the Brave browser, and the Brave browser allows you to earn cryptocurrency for allowing ads. So by default, it removes ads, and then when you allow ads, you're able to earn cryptocurrency for allowing those to appear as you go about your browsing experience. And they're very unintrusive. There's no like in-stream video ads or anything like that. You can also choose the category of ad you'd like to see. It is very, very focused on the user and your privacy, as well as, putting you first, and you're earning money for your attention and your time. And the Brave Creator Program is another great program that they have set up. So if you're a creator and someone's watching your YouTube videos, but they're by default blocking all the ads, you're not going to earn anything. Now, if you sign up with Brave, they could tip you, or if they have automatic contributions on, you can automatically tip people whose videos you watch, which kind of it makes it easy so you don't have to stop and actually tip everyone that you watch. But if you're not trying to, earn the money that you're getting for allowing ads, you can give it back to those creators whose ads you're disabling if you'd like to still support them. So there's a lot of really great things that they're doing. And as you can see on BAT Growth, which shares the amount of publishers that are jumping on all these different platforms, they've been getting a lot of traction. There's over 210,000 YouTube channels that are using this currently, 34,000 websites, tons of other social platforms. Highly, highly recommend using Brave. It's not necessarily a social media platform, but the reason that I recommend it so highly is because it really enables a lot of the things that people are trying to do with social media applications and platforms, but it allows them to do it with platforms that are not necessarily that. So even if you just have your own website, but you want to earn money, or you want to keep using YouTube or Vimeo or Twitch or Twitter, you can now monetize that with cryptocurrency. And when people are disabling your ads, regardless, it's a really good idea to sign up here. Now, in terms of the two top platforms, we've got PublishOX, which I'm really happy to say I know the owner. He's a great guy. They've been doing such amazing work with this platform. They've really taken it off the ground. It's only been around for, several months, but it's been doing so well. And I have managed to earn over hundreds of dollars in cryptocurrency just from creating articles and sharing everything that I'm sharing on all the other platforms. But just sharing it here, I've been able to earn a decent amount. So as you can see, this one, I actually go through how much crypto can you earn in 1 month, and it got over 2,000 views, and I earned a little over $7 in tips. So tips are not people donating, it's you give a tip for free, and you actually get to decide how much you want to take for yourself for the time you spent reading the article. So say you end up going through their whole article and you don't think it was very good, so you want to actually tip yourself for the time that you wasted. You can actually give yourself an 80% tip, but you still have to give 20% to the author, for the time that they put in. But, say you think they did a really good job, you can give 100% to them and take nothing for yourself. It really it's giving away free crypto that is provided by sponsors. This is not necessarily using the blockchain, but it is an amazing, amazing application, especially for people who are trying to monetize their articles and earn a little bit of crypto. And it's very, very consistent and reliable. And I think compared to something like Steam, it's a lot easier to get started, and there's a lot less of a challenge to start earning. And it's really just based on the merit of your posts and how well you're doing. So I highly, highly recommend checking out PublishOX. The last platform, we're looking at a bunch of platforms. Technically, it's the Steam network. So I would recommend Steemit amongst many, many other interfaces. It's all the same account. And what I use for videos on Steam is DTube. And DTube is another amazing application. I've done interviews with, it's D.tube. I've done an interview with the creator and founder of DTube, as well as some of the executives from Steam. You can see that on my channel or on YouTube. And it's a really, really great platform for hosting your videos. These are actually hosted on the blockchain. So this is true blockchain use. It's true decentralization. You're earning a good amount if people like what they see. And there's a lot of potential to doing a lot on these platforms here. And then Steemit is the original, very first platform. So a lot of people get confused thinking that Steam and Steemit are the same thing. Steemit was just the first interface that was created. So as you can see here, it's more of a blog Reddit style. But any post that you post anywhere, so this was a DTube post, will still show up on your Steemit, because again, it is all technically still the same network, just different interfaces. So as you can see here, this is what it looks like in a blog format. I do go back and re-edit it to add pictures and make it a full blog. But as you can see with this post, I got 182 votes, there's 19 comments, and I managed to earn about $24. This has only been up for 22 hours, so I won't actually get my earnings until 7 days afterwards, and then it's permanently on the blockchain. Also, people who have upvoted the post will earn a portion of the rewards, as well as DTube does take a commission. So if you're not happy with paying, a fee to DTube of your earnings, you can just post directly to Steemit and you could share YouTube videos or whatever you decide to do. But I've had a really good experience using DTube, and you also earn their cryptocurrency DTC on top of Steam. So you can just use theirs, or you can, as you can see, you log into both, and you could post on both or just one or the other. But I highly, highly recommend Steam. I've managed to earn a decent amount when I've been posting, and though Steam is only worth about 15 cents today, I expect that it will go way, way up when Bitcoin halves. Not a promise, but that's kind of what I'm banking on. But regardless, it is one of the best platforms with the biggest communities where you can earn cryptocurrency for sharing content in many different ways. So they've got Steepshot, which is like Instagram. They have this, which is like a blogging platform. DTube, which is like YouTube. They've got DSound, which is like SoundCloud. There's very many interfaces that you can use, but it's all with the same account. So I do think it's a little challenging when people get first started, and it's a tad bit confusing, but you can rely on some of the easier platforms to use, like busy.org or SteamPeak. There's many different interfaces. For example, we'll check out Busy. And essentially, it's the same thing. It'll be the same content. It's just in a bit more of a user-friendly way that feels a little more familiar to something like Twitter. And it really just comes down to your preference. Steemit is the most raw, unfiltered version. So you're going to see a bit more spam, but you're going to see everything that's out there. I highly recommend taking a look at a lot of these platforms. Steemit and PublishOX are definitely my favorites, but I post on all of these platforms. As you can see from this icon all the way through to here, I post on all these platforms. So, even whether or not I recommend a platform as being a top platform, I still test all of these platforms, and I still, do my due diligence in making sure that I am doing, giving you the most comprehensive review possible so that you have the tools that you need to earn cryptocurrency and, not be censored and be able to monetize all of your efforts in a way that isn't super intrusive or, making the experience worse for the person consuming your content. And I think platforms like Steem and PublishOX are the best ways that you can do that amongst some of the other ones that we've recommended and taken a look at. This is essentially the conclusion. Also, if you're looking for a mobile version of Steem, I recommend Partico, but there are a few other ones. And so the biggest changes since the previous review that I did was that, Uptrend got its token listed. It's been getting a lot better. PublishOX has become a top platform. It's been doing really, really well. Steem has changed a bit. Mine's, again, it did kind of fall down in my recommendations because it's very challenging to earn there, especially compared to all the other platforms. And they've been getting more restrictive with how much you can actually boost content. So it sort of devalues the token a little bit. Plus, they increase the price. So, they're not making it extremely ideal. I still have faith that it's going to keep improving and getting better, but it's not a top recommendation anymore. I've now considered Brave as a top platform, even though it's not necessarily a social media platform, but it enables you to achieve all the same things that you're trying to do with monetization, decentralization. The LinkedIn-esque apps like Doc.io, Endorse, Springroll, they've all fallen off the list because they've either stopped working or completely changed. DLive is not recommended at all because it's, in my opinion, kind of a scam. Again, there's no perfect platform. There's different platforms that offer different benefits. Like you can probably earn more money on Steem for the most part, but you can earn more consistently on PublishOX and it's easier to get started. Everything has their ups and downs. Library is the most decentralized, it's just like the most open platform, but it's also a little challenging to get started with. But again, now that they have the website version, I think that's going to change a lot of people's opinions about it and how easy it is to use and how easy it is to onboard new users. If you think that I misinterpreted something or falsely, made some false claim, or I made a mistake, or, I gave an unjust review to one of these platforms, feel free to comment below and I will make edits or changes if I feel that your comment is relevant and valid. I've put countless hours into making this, and I will eventually do a 5th comprehensive review probably in March of next year. I'm trying to do it every 3 to 4 months or so because I want to give these platforms time to improve. And a lot of these platforms, I personally know a lot of the CEOs and execs that are working on a lot of these things. And if they see this, they can take this into account and potentially make updates and improvements. And when we come back, they might change their placement on my recommendations. But again, if you're only looking for a few platforms to maybe start taking advantage of, I would say check out Steem, PublishOX, and you might as well start earning some money with Brave browser. So again, if you think I've made a mistake, make sure to let me know. I've also included all of my previous reviews. I've also done specific reviews for EOS dApps, Steam dApps, and Ethereum dApps. So there's tons and tons of stuff that you can check out. I've also done ranking the top 10 platforms, and I go extremely in depth for all the different variables and categories as to how I rank them. So as you can tell, I've been doing this for quite some time, over 2 years now. I've been using these platforms, posting on them very, very frequently, testing all of them out. And essentially, we're just trying to find the best alternatives to legacy platforms and solving all the issues around demonetization, censorship, you know, all the different things that are going on, centralization, whatever it might be. There's a lot. And these platforms are championing free speech and privacy and putting the power back in the user's hands. And that's the most important thing when I'm looking for different blockchain applications to be using, especially social media applications. So again, if you think there's something I missed, or maybe something that I could throw in, add to the list, or maybe add it to a next time or to review in the future, let me know, and I will make sure to make those changes if they are relevant and they make sense that I should make them. I'd love to hear your feedback. What is your favorite platform? What are the platforms that you generally use? Make sure to comment in the comments below. I'm sure everyone would love to get someone else's opinion than just me. You've probably been listening to me for quite some time now, maybe about an hour. And I really appreciate it if you actually watched the entire video. Because this was quite long and this did take several takes, and I'm still a little sick, so I appreciate you sitting through this. And if you did, make sure to comment #1ham so I do know that you actually watched the whole thing and you stayed to the very end. I extremely appreciate it. Even if you didn't watch the whole thing and you just jumped through, I appreciate that you took a look, and I would appreciate it even more if you would give this a like, subscribe, share it with other people who might be looking for different applications, or don't know where to start or what's good, or just want a good overview on what's out there. Because if anything, I've listed basically every existing blockchain platform on this list. And if anything, this will give you a great directory to refer to if you're trying to explore them yourself. I've included all the links and a brief description and, a bit of an explanation as to why I've included them where I've included them. So again, feel free to let me know if you think I've made a mistake, but I appreciate that you've stayed this long. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.